Did is I took my dried gourd right here, get a tub of water and get a wet towel. It's very important to get a wet towel because what you want to do is you want to wrap this gourd in this towel and put them back in the water. What that does is gourds are hollow and they float. If you try and you want this whole thing to be wet, and if they float, you're only getting wet on one side. But by taking a towel and putting over the top of them and wrapping them, then put them back in the water, that will wick that water back up. And you want to leave them in there for about 15 minutes, and that will soften up all that outside skin on those.
We'll be back in 15 minutes.
Okay, so after the time's up, you remove it and take you one of these copper pot scrubbers. Why it's copper is it doesn't rust. So, and what you do then is you just start rubbing this gourd and you can see how easy that is to clean up. You can use your water then to splash back on there as you're rubbing this gourd. And it only takes about 5 minutes and you'll have your gourd all ready to be dried then. And it's sort of preference if you want to get all this off or leave it on for some color. That's just, it's an individual preference. You can also sand these dry, but it makes such a mess when you sand them. A lot of dust. This way it keeps all the particles down and you can just keep putting them in the water. Good thing you can sort of feel the gourd because any of that old skin will be slimy that's on there if you're wanting to try to get rid of all that. And any of that stuff, if you just put a little bit of elbow grease on, a little pressure. Okay, then after you have him like that, you want to take you a dry towel or a dry cloth and rub them down, and you can take a look at see how he turned out. And there you have your clean gourd. Now what we'll do is I'll let this dry out. It'll take maybe another 15 minutes to half hour, and this outside will be all dried. When he finally gets all dried, you'll just take you some very fine sandpaper and you'll rub it to get any of the other little fuzzies off of them. Or you can do it when he's wet like this. You can feel everything. Till you get to the your desired look, and he'll feel very smooth. And there you have the beginnings of a birdhouse gourd. Dry right now. He could have went a little longer, but it's okay to get started. Next thing is decide where do you want your hole for the birdhouse. You know, a lot of times I try to balance where looks good or something. I'll look at the shape of the gourd and to see what would work the best. And I have a drill with a hole saw on it.
Yeah, that's like wood.
Yeah. Instant hole in there.
What size hole is that?
Okay, this is like for a wren house, being this was smaller. This is about 1.25 inches. If you're going to go for the bluebird or something, you want to go up just a little bit to 1.5 inches. So the size of the hole determines the bird. So on it. Now, next part is you want to remove some of the inside stuff out of there. And I have a little homemade tool here. And what I'm going to do is get these seeds, I'm going to scrape them some. I can use this hook side and pull and push a little bit, being careful not to damage the gourd while you're getting this stuff broke up some. And sometimes it takes a little bit. That stuff can be really hooked on there. And then you want to start removing inside the seeds from inside the gourd. I normally just do this with my finger and shake.
You can buy a bag.
And you'll be amazed at how many seeds can come out of one gourd.
I'm not going to have any money.
You want to keep this tool around because when the winter time comes, you want to take your gourd down because the birds have left. Then you can use a tool like this to clean out the old nesting materials that's in there. Now they say, and to start with, you don't have to have every bit of that out because the birds, they bring in sticks and all kinds of things to help make their nest. Some of this fibers in here will work great for their nesting material anyways. It's already naturally in there. And they even said you can leave some seeds to help attract the birds. But as you look in, you can see that that's pretty well cleaned out. It's a lot of room inside of here now. I think he'll make a good. Okay, so now you can see that's cleaned out inside. Looking pretty good. Okay, so my next step is I have to get my drill bits.
Yeah, doing well.
This is an important thing to do. You want to find the bottom and you want to look at your house and find the lowest spot on your house. In case any water gets in here, you don't want to drown your bird. So you want to have some drain holes in there. So normally I find the lowest spot on my gourd. And I'll drill 3 little drain holes in the bottom of them. So that way any moisture gets in there, it can drain out. Okay, so we're just about ready. Other thing is we're going to install a hanger. And again, you can look at this bird. You might be able to hang it from here. That one's fairly straight, so you could probably hang them from up here at the nose. I'll drill a hole through there. I have some baling wire that I use. Your preference can be whichever you'd want to use in these. Make sure your wire is straight. And you'll feed it through the hole. Now what I do is I double my wire. Then I'll just take and I'll twist this wire. Just keep twisting it and twisting it. This will add some strength to it. Twist it as you go all the way up. When you get up closer to the top, if you know wires have sharp edges on it, so what I like to do myself then is I like to take my pliers and twist one that way and one that way, and then you can put your hook on there. There you have your birdhouse gourd. That's simple. The next step that I do is I have a clear gloss enamel. If you want them to be shiny like some of those gourds, you would spray this down with this clear gloss enamel. Come here, bug plant here. And that's going to start bringing that beauty back out from that gourd when you see when it was wet. I normally always put 2 coats of these on here. This, like I said, this is a quick, fast-drying enamel, so it only takes about 15-20 minutes. The directions say if you do it within the hour, you can put a second coat on there. But there you can see it's starting to bring the shine out on it. And that's how I do birdhouse gourds.